Inspiration sparks and raises our vibration, encouraging all of us to live our best lives. It's my pleasure to welcome our speaker for this evening, BonnieCrosier. Bonnie is the president and founder of SCoA and has a passion with education and working with those who want to explore their spiritual journey by searching and getting curious about life. As a retired chaplain, she brings a great understanding of spiritual care to our ministry. A warm Harmony Harbor welcome to Bonnie.
All right, let's start that over. Thanks, Jen. Many years ago, I always looked forward to a Sunday morning cartoon. It would broadcast before we'd leave for Sunday school. And some of you may remember the Rocky and Bullwinkle show with Natasha and Boris and all of these different characters. But the one part that I really liked was the segment called The Fractured Fairy Tales, where many times they would tell Aesop fables, but in a little different way from the original fable. And for some reason, I think, it probably made more sense. It was definitely more entertaining. But today, I definitely want to read one, and so I went back on YouTube and I looked this one up, and it's a little different than the original story, but I almost played it for you guys today. But you can look it up on YouTube. The story or the fable is the hare and the tortoise. A hare was making fun of the tortoise one day for being so slow. "Do you ever get anywhere?" he asked with a mocking laugh. "Yes," replied the tortoise, "and I get there sooner than you think. I'll run a race with you to prove it." The hare was much amused with the idea of running a race with the tortoise, but for fun, he decided that he would agree. So the fox, who had consented to act as a judge, marked the distance and the start of the runners off. The hare was soon far out of sight, and to make the tortoise feel deeply how ridiculous it was for him to even try to win a race with the hare, he laid down beside the course to take a nap until the tortoise would show up. The tortoise, meanwhile, kept going slowly and steadily, and after time passed the place where the hare was sleeping. But the hare kept on sleeping and very peaceful. And at last, when he did wake up, the tortoise was near the goal. The hare now ran his swiftest, but he could not overtake the tortoise in time. The race isn't always about the swift. Slow and steady wins the race. So each new year brings advertised mindset. New year, new you. Businesses that sell weight loss programs, workout memberships, and even ads to improve yourself this year for hair replacement. And the list goes on. And there's so many things about how you can be a new you in just so many days. And my question with all of this is what's so wrong with the current you? Do you really want to have a new you? Or, how about maybe just thinking about things that you want to do a little bit differently, or, something that would enhance you, or maybe do an improvement? But why do you want a new you? Personally, I like all of you just the way you are, but all of that takes time. It takes time. At the beginning of the year, each year, it appears that there are many people who start off with a goal or maybe even the New Year's resolution, and with the excitement of creating a new chapter in their lives, starting out with abundant energy, and only to have the goal or the resolution diminish as time goes by, much like the quick burst of the hare that was in our story. Anyone here relating to what I'm saying, or am I the only person that doesn't finish things when she starts them? I don't think I'm alone in this process. I remember before I retired, I was so excited to have a new project in the job site and having a vision on how it would all progress and, putting the team together that would put this new project together. And, it made everybody on the team feel like they were appreciated and that they were able to add to the value in the workplace through their contributions. And the longer the project lasted, the duller the project seemed to become. And then it would become a burden, and people then associated it with additional work that had been placed on the team. So the excitement was gone, however, and the race, so to speak, wasn't as complete as it probably could have been. Things that are new seem to have a bit of excitement about them. But as time goes on, the excitement dwindles, and much like the hare, he was full of energy when he started the race, but he was much, much faster than the tortoise and should have won. But what happened? Was he just overconfident? Was he so exhausted by running so fast all the time? Was his ego getting in the way to ensure him bragging rights for winning, if you will, by having the tortoise actually see him win? I'm not sure, but at any rate, he was beat. I know there are people who start things in their lives and have a hard time finishing what they started. And according to various studies, a significant portion of people, as high as around 80 to 90%, tend to start projects or tasks and don't complete them. This tendency not to finish what they began can be attributed to factors like procrastination, lack of motivation, or poor planning. And I wonder if maybe boredom would be another key factor. Joseph Ferrari, a professor of psychology at DePaul University, cited that 25% of the people around the world are chronic procrastinators. While 1/4 of the world fits this chronic label, nearly all of us fit somewhere on the don't finish what we start spectrum. I call this a case of the I don't wannas, and the older I get, the more I don't wanna. Sometimes I wonder if we as humans make the task too big instead of breaking it down into more manageable bits with a timeline goal. And this would maybe change the face of the project to reflect the many facets, each having its own identity. I remember growing up on the farm, and life was sort of like that. I don't think it's ever been done that a farmer can plant and harvest on the same day. It takes time. Yet each had a variety, and it was all for one task, which was farming. Today, as I was putting today's address together, I sort of did that with my life now. I had 3 general headings that now have subtasks below them. And it made meaning to me to see when I actually seen my life and what it represents on paper and the progression that each step takes. I guess for me, this would be my race. And this would be representative of the fable. And the one thing that I took away from the fable is that while the tortoise was probably focused on winning the race, he still had time to notice what was around him. And as the fable said, slow and steady wins the race. One thing I look for in stories such as this is what's the lesson here and what's the deeper meaning? What do all the components represent? So next, let's define the race. What does the race mean to you? For some, it may mean just getting through the day. Or is it checking your bucket list from time to time to see what's left on it and how far you've accomplished on what you had in there? Is it about a goal or a resolution that you made in your life? Let's take for an example that you want to become more spiritual in nature this year. So where does one start? I would say the best time to start is making sure you set aside time for meditation on a daily basis and maybe more time with some nature. Having time at the end of each day to reflect on the wonders of the world and gratitude for all the blessings you've been given. Maybe it's about taking um, time for appreciation for what each thing contributes to nature as you take in the beauty. Taking time to reflect on things that happened during the day have been distressing and those that and how to work for those kinds of things that are in a more forgiving and understanding manner may help with the stress and the distress. I have to admit it, that's a hard one to do. Sometimes, depending on the situation, it's hard to be forgiving and understanding. But examine your thoughts and your emotions and understand them, that you can embrace the energy that came with that and either let it go if it's a negative emotion or hang on to it if it's a positive emotion. Some people say that they don't make resolutions at the beginning of the year, and this could be for many reasons. Maybe it's because they have a history of not sticking with it. Think about many of the resolutions that people make. When you really think about it, they're lifestyle changes. So, what price are you willing to pay to change to become more spiritual or more enlightened? How much time do you wish to invest in making that change? If it's a lifestyle change, after a while, it'll be a part of you and you will be a part of it. And is this really what you want in your life? Helen Keller was quoted, "The best and the most beautiful things in the world cannot be seen or even touched. They must be felt with the heart." The heart is such a complex piece of our human body. It's strong enough to keep beating each day, and yet it can be so badly broken by unkindness. It can also bring emotions to a high that is not experienced any other way for us to feel. The way to help your heart is to allow yourself to heal your emotions. And if grief is involved, give yourself all the time you need to grieve and the process of what you are going through. Self-care is important as doing things that you want to do and enjoy and anything that brings you comfort and joy. So how else do we feel by the heart? How do you make that happen? Well, by learning to embrace each moment and give meaning to that. And what does that mean to you? What emotions are tied to that? And how can I either embrace it or keep it or let it go? Letting go isn't always easy, especially when it's a couple of the emotions of anger and hurt. Anger and hurt they're hard to let go. Whatever your race is for this coming year, I hope you remember with Aesop's fable of the hare and the tortoise. And it's not about how fast you get to the end of your goal. It's about making that lifestyle change that you wanted to embrace and steadily achieving it. And the end result that is now part of you, and you are a part of it. It's about ensuring that you have experienced as much of this life as possible. It's about learning more about yourself than you ever knew from the day before. It's about evolving, much like the cocoon, as it opens to release a beautiful butterfly. Maybe this year is going to be the year you discover a new and exciting and beautiful facet about yourself. So for this year, I'm not really sold on the new year, new year, or new year, new you thing. I'm thinking about let's see what we can do to maybe make this physical life a little bit easier for all of us. But it's got to start with from within. So this year, I think I'll take a hard look at the accomplishments of the tortoise and be mindful that slow and steady is going to be needed to win my race. And I want to thank you all for allowing me to serve today.